Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? How are we? Shorty's back. Big night of work. And I came home, and my mate, he's a tradie, so he gets up at like 6 a.m. But I saw he'd obviously gone to the toilet just as I got home. So I thought, perfect timing. I'll prank this bastard. His lamp was on. He was in the toilet. I was like, got him. So I took my top off, took my pants off, just sat in his bed in my jocks. Thought, this will stitch him up. Then he walked out from the toilet, full naked. And I was like, okay. Okay, prank gone wrong. I didn't want to see you cock tonight. That's fine. But it was crazy times here in the household. But that's what you get. Sometimes your pranks land, and sometimes your mate walks out fully naked. You win some, you lose some. Speaking of footlongs, I went to Subway today. I'm just kidding, Jonah. You are not that well endowed, but respectfully. But yeah, at work today, I decided to go to Subway for dinner. Not normally something I would do. I'd normally just grab a Sanger or something pretty chill, but I thought, no, I'm going to go to Subway. So, and it was an amazing time because Shorty just stumbled across something quite brilliant. I don't know about you, but I normally just get the same sort of sub. You know, back from the early days when you're a youngster, you tried a few subs, you know, you got your meatball sub, a couple of bits and pieces, but you pretty much landed on what you want. You know your order. That's what you get from Subway. So Shorty's walked in, you know, foot long, thanks, Italian herb and cheese. Yeah, whack some old English on that bad boy. Just lettuces, lettuce and red onion, pretty basic, and just some chicken fillet in there, fresh or toasted. No, just fresh is fine. One would say it's a fairly vanilla sub, but that's what Shorty likes. And no salt and pepper, thank you. And then we got to the sauces, and normally I would just go barbecue sauce. I don't know why, but today I went the old Chipotle Southwest or whatever it's called. Game changer. Bit into that bad boy, and it was a different world. It was a different beast. It was like, oh, Shorty, what have we stumbled upon here, my friend? This is a tasty little dish. I don't know why I did it. I don't know. But I had, I'd gotten pretty, not sick of, but I don't really go to Subway often. And I think that's because I get the same thing every time. It's just, yeah, it's okay. But shook it right up today, ladies and gentlemen. Shook it right up. Shorty was pretty pleased about that one. So, yeah, they're the little wins you take from a long day at work because, I had 35 drops today, 35 deliveries. And for perspective, a big day normally is 28 to 30. So it's just one of those real outliers that's just brutal. So it was a big one, big day. But we're back now. A bit later, but I'll hopefully get this one up before 11 o'clock. And it's a big preview week as the buys begin. So we're meaning business now. This is really going to sort the men from the boys. It's really going to be important to, not so much this week, but plan for next week, this week. You probably should have been planning a couple of weeks ago. But this one, it's all about getting in some big boys. Sean Darcy, Timmy English, get him into your side. A lot of us probably have Tim English, and I'll tell you what, didn't he come back breathing fire? Honestly, I tried to play the percentages, and a couple of percentage plays haven't worked lately. Like Stephen Cornelio, I thought the percentage play, break even at 150, hasn't been playing in the midfield, okay, new coach, whatever, he's a trade. Then he bounces back. And I really thought the percentage play with English, after a massive break, Jordan Sweet's still in the team, just wait a week, and then he goes bang 160 or whatever it was. So I like to think that strategy, like I said, was the percentage play, and over the journey would pay off more often than not. But oh, it hurt. So I was planning to bring Sean Darcy in anyway, but Timmy English going like that just made me say, no, I've got to get on him ASAP. And if you don't get on these guys, well, you're pretty much saying you're going to be behind the pack a little bit because I think they're must-haves. But you're also probably saying, okay, I won't get it for 2-3 weeks or whatever it is. You're then sort of subscribing to paying probably an extra 60 to 80,000 whenever you do try and get them. But let's take a look at the teams. We'll be looking at some captain options, my trades this week. So we'll go through all of that. Oh, while I'm at it, what's your Subway order? You a little 6-inch operator, a little foot-long sort of guy? I'm talking about your bread sort of sandwich operation. Let's not get too personal here. It's late, but let's not get too hectic. Yeah, the teams. Anyway, Dogs and Geelong Friday night. Shorty will be there, I'm keen. Bailey Smith comes back, which is very important for a lot of you guys out there. I think he's a quality option to bring in the side as well. And Jordan Sweet is out of the team, so that's even more beneficial for Timmy English. Reece Stanley comes in, so Geelong will be slightly better in the ruck if that's any sort of thought process to your VC of English, but I think he's a pretty solid option. The teams were pretty kind to us. Obviously, Cleary there was not in the side, so I think a lot of people would have been hoping he was in the team. It's not to be, but I think there are other options that we can work with. And again, there really isn't too much to note. The D's get Salem back. That might be handy for some of your draft teams out there. Matty Roberts, first game, he's out. Blakey's back in the team. And then, of course, some Sunday teams here. McCluggage comes back. Chapman's out. But, yeah, look, there's not too much. There isn't too much, obviously. Lloyd Meek comes into the team, but, I think that's more so because Tabiner is out rather than, a real sharing of the ruck. Darcy's hit some really, really, really good form. And, yeah, that's honestly all that is really relative, I think, from a team's point of view. But, look, what I want to just touch on first, and it's with the buys, I think this week you should have 18 relatively comfortably. But this round 13 one is where things are going to get sticky. And you just want to try and get 18 here. You just want to get 18. Because this round 13 buy, I've heard some people say, just cut your losses, just accept that it'll be a trash one and move on and make sure you have good bye weeks elsewhere. If you're just trying to win your league, then that's all right. That's fair enough. But if you're gunning for some good overall stuff or take a bit of pride in the overall ranking, you really got to plan hard for this one. I hope you guys have been already. But what's important here to acknowledge is, there's a lot of premium dogs and, premium swans, that type of thing. But what's important to acknowledge is that we can cut our losses with a few cash cows that have been great for us, give them the arse, upgrade them to someone or downgrade who had the round 12 buy. So I'm talking Robbie McComb, I'm talking DeConning, I'm talking Paddy McCartan. Could it be Greg Clark, if you're really desperate, something like that. So, and a few guys. So the perfect scenario is to bring out guys, take guys out of your team that are about to have their bye, bring in a player who's had their bye. Like I often say, if you just left your team for 3 weeks over the buys, you'd cop 30 zeros, 30 donuts. I think tomorrow's International Donut Day, by the way. It's a fucking random thing for you. So what you can do by trading smartly, like I said, trading guys who are about to have their bye for a player who has had their bye, you can take that number from 30 down to 25, 26. It could really, really benefit you. So, are you going to bring in a Sammy Walsh or a Paddy Cripps next week, or Travis Boak, Dan Houston, Zach Butters? Do they light your fire? Jack Sinclair? I'm talking next week. Obviously not for this week because they have the bye. Now, Jordan Ridley, do you think he could be a nice D7 for you at some stage? Or Zach Merrett's nicely priced? Can you afford Darcy Parish? Or is it, Dustin Martin's tapered off a bit? But do you have Jaden Short yet? It's sort of that type of thing. I mean, there's probably not as many Giants. Josh Kelly's sort of been spoken about a little bit more. So just try and think about that. Just try and have in your mind how you're going to plan out your next 6 trades or whatever it might be. So I think it's definitely worth thinking about. So I'm going to jump into my team, and I might just even talk about my trades and what I'm going to do first. So Shorty's biting the bullet. Tim Taranto, it's been a disaster. It really has. It has been this. I pride myself on trading, and this one has been a stinker. Absolute stinker. Now, like I said before, I mainly wanted to bring Sean Darcy in. And originally, it was going to be Gibcus down to Cleary or something like that. But a few things changed, obviously. And now I'm with the option that English going the way he did, I feel like I have to bring him in. So Hayes is going to go out. So let's walk our way through it. And all of a sudden, Joel Jeffrey, I said last week I could never see this bloke scoring a 90 ever again. He comes out and sticks it right up me. You stuck it right up him. That's what you did. And let's just take it. So Hayes is the easy one. He's done his job, made some nice money. He hits his buy. That one's easy. And Tim Taranto, I'm not writing him off. I plan on bringing him into my side over the next month. But someone's got to go. And financially, this is how it has to be, Timmy boy. I'm sorry, mate. But get on that foam roller, get your back right, get back into the team. And I reckon I can pick you up for around 450. And you can average 105 for the last 9 weeks for me. That is genuine potential. But Isaac Heaney, he ain't the guy that he once was, is he? So, first month, about 130 plus 3 out of 4, I think it was. His midfield minutes haven't changed dramatically, but he's definitely gone back to almost just pinch hitting in the midfield. I do feel like the centre bounces haven't been a glaring drop off. I just feel like his time further up the ground has dropped off. I'm not exactly sure. I don't watch every Swans game. But particularly with Bont and Pally and Basilenka coming into our forward lines, it bumps Heaney even further down the top 6 or 8, whatever you want to classify it, top forward. So I think he's got to go when push comes to shove. And like I said, Timmy Taranto. So English comes into the side. I'm also want him. I wanted him forward, you bastard. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Where's Big Shorty boy? And look, I don't like bringing in players that I disregarded on the bubble and then they stick it up me. It pricks my pride. It pisses me off. But Jeffrey did it, and you can't ignore the break even. It is outstanding. So I'm just going to have to respect it. You know, he went up fucking 60k, says 60k I'll never see again. But this is what has to be done to get our lads in. And he's going to be a real easy cash drive too, is Jeffrey. And then, of course, we just sneak in to getting English by about $8,000. So that's what I'm doing. Couple little substitutions. I've easily got the coverage in terms of playing a full 18 sort of thing. 1, 2 zeros there. All G in the midfield. I'll be able to go a little bit emergency loophole style. I'll see what McComb scores, and if he goes all right, I'll chuck Cripps on. I think that should still work, I think. And then, yeah, we're pretty good there. So, look, no dramas in terms of fielding. A full accomplishment of a full complement of players. Now, for those who don't realise, you get 3 trades naturally through the buys. You can trade boost that to 4. First 18 scorers are crucial. So often you'll see, okay, your top 18 scorers, you just need 18 scorers. Yeah, you do, and that's fine. But if you can have any more than that, it's so crucial. I'm telling you, over the journey, if you cop an injury or you get a guy that scores 32 and boom, he's your 19th worst score, cancel that fella out. It's crucial if you can manage to do that. So anything above 18, really, really helpful. So that's how I'm going about it. I took a couple of notes from the live session of guys I wanted to talk about. Well, guys that you talked about that I wanted to touch on. So there's a lot of talk about Sicily versus Sinclair. I preference Sinclair on 2 small fronts. You get a little bit extra cash. So if value or anything like that isn't an issue for you, then don't worry about it. And dual position, I think that's really helpful, particularly if you want to swing things around later in the year. Could prove beneficial for you as well. I do think their averages are so similar. I know it might not say it exactly at the moment, but I think Sicily's a guy who's just running super hot. I don't see him keeping this unbelievable standard up, but he will be a top 3 or 4 defender. Sinclair, probably top 5, top 6. But I just think dual position, bit of extra coin, which is proving super crucial at the moment. I might just give Sinclair the nod. Plus, he's reeled off 2 massive scores. So from a break-even point of view, sometimes I just look at guys and I look at Sicily and I say, you know, he's priced at 635, and I just don't know if I feel comfortable paying that much. Although I haven't even Geez, my spelling is all over the shop. So what? His break even would be pretty damn low too, I'd imagine. 106, and then you've got Jack Sinclair, who I could only imagine would be, sort of around your 60s or something. 54, yeah. So that break even, dual position, extra bit of cash to spend next week. That's how I would preference it. But if you said, Shorty, none of that bothers me, mate. Who's going to score more? Sicily. So it depends which way you want to cut it for your side. And a few people talking about Jed Anderson. It's a no from me. So I just don't see, and I've got this one wrong in the past. I told you Darcy Cameron didn't have a function for his selection. He wasn't a premium, in my opinion. He's proven me wrong while Grundy's out of the team, and he wasn't going to make you money. I say similar with Jed Anderson. He's at 400k. He's not really going to make you massive cash, and he's not going to be a keeper. I really, you could look back in hindsight and say Cameron's role was, obviously more beneficial than maybe what Anderson might be doing, but he's only ever really done genuine premium numbers 1 year in 2020, and the rest he's just not a noted premium, and his injury history is super concerning. So unless you are just in for a real smash and grab sort of cash job, a short-term band-aid fix, I just need him for the buyers, and then he'll get up to 470, 480, and then I'm getting rid of him. Okay, if you've got enough trades to warrant that selection, I can't argue with you. I don't really like it, but I wanted to touch on him and a few others. Sam Walsh was spoken about. Darcy Parish was spoken about. Look, Walsh is a jet. If you can bring him in, bring him in. I think he's a star. Simple as that. I wouldn't worry about having too many blues or anything like that. Obviously not for this week, but there are a few people talking about planning for their premiums. Parish as well. Again, he's a guy that has the buy this week. But I also think Zach Merrett at a much cheaper price could be a really good option to finish off your midfield, or even be an M9 if you're that lucky to be going about that. And Boak is similar. Josh Kelly as well has been spoken about. I mean, he's going to be, he looks like he's playing a bit more centre bounce. The numbers say that. When he does that position, he's 110 plus comfortably. I always get a little bit worried with Kelly as to, he seems to get thrown around occasionally on a wing, occasionally more a flank, because he is a beautiful ball user. So they often try to have his outside polish used in that way. But he actually can win his own ball, and he actually tackles real hard as well. So when he does get inside, that's when he averages 115. But sometimes to fully benefit the Giants, he isn't always in that role. So keep that in mind. And I jotted down Callum Mills for some reason. I'm not sure why. I mean, obviously he's a Jet. So, but yeah, they were a couple of options. And I'll look at the break evens tomorrow, as I always do. And a few names always pop up there. And if I remember any that I sort of missed, then I'll touch on it tomorrow. But I really wanted to cover off on your buys, your structures, my trades, and I really wanted to just hammer home that getting in Tim English and Sean Darcy is so crucial. Gawn is similar. We shouldn't say have no love for Gawn because he is cheaper than Darcy. I just think the break even and where it's at, you could go either. And I feel like most of you probably have Gawn. Oh boy, this is turning into a bit of a longer video. I just got cut off, which doesn't normally happen when I'm filming on the second time. But anyway, let's just take a look at some potential captain options, and then I reckon we'll wrap this fella up and get some editing going, and then maybe some sleep. Or I might watch a bit of the French Open actually. Look, I think we're going doggies on the Friday night. Tim English, McRae, Bailey Smith. A lot of people talking about Bontempelli versus Bailey Smith. I think we'd really like to have both of them in our teams after the doggies bye. I've been, if you're making that trade this week, I've been preferencing Bailey Smith purely on a price and break even point of view. But I think they're both great options and will be keepers for the rest of for your team for the rest of the year. So that's my thoughts on those guys as well. So big chance the doggy gets a VC on your Friday night. you could also chuck it on lead. I might think Tuke Miller might have a day out against North Melbourne. And then in terms of where we actually land when it's all said and done, you might be real confident with Gawn up against a bit of an inexperienced Swans ruck department. Lockie Neal's always a really, really good option, as we know. I really like Clayton Oliver against the Swans. They Mills occasionally plays a bit of a tag. But look, I just think the D's will be absolutely seething. I think they'll be just hanging out for a big response. So I really am feeling like a big bounce back is coming for definitely Petrarca. He was sick last week, but I think Oliver's probably a safer captain option. So you can't disregard McRae, though. He doesn't hang around 102 all too often, does he? A 140 is normally just around the corner. I think English is probably the guy who's shown a big ceiling, and he's probably produced a number of acceptable VC scores throughout the year. So I would say I'm leaning towards McRae or English. So 3 of his 6 scores you could say you would take as a VC. So he's batting 50%. So pretty handy stuff. But let's wrap it up. Thanks heaps for tuning in, guys. Awesome to chat. We'll do so tomorrow as well. And have a good night. Have a good weekend. I'll chat to you all soon. Cheers.